Good morning. Hello. Welcome to not all day breakfast. Thank goodness. I've done that before, but this is instant breakfast and it is Friday. So happy Friday. And it's July 20th. I have my co-host John with me today. He was not here yesterday because I had some special guests. Not that he's not special because he is. Hi, John. How are you?
Hi, I'm great.
Good. All right. We're going to do another Women's Day.
Yeah, it'll be the third one in a row. And I think the last couple of episodes have been possibly two of our best shows so far of New Brunswick music. And they have been 100% dedicated to women's New Brunswick music. And we have yet another episode for our audience. We could keep on going. I think we're going to keep it at 3. That's a perfect magic number.
Yes, it is.
Our first episode was more of a hard rocking episode. And this one's going to be just a mishmash of tunes and artists that I find interesting and enjoyable.
Perfect.
Wanted to draw everyone's attention to the Women's Musician Facebook site that was created by Courtney Nichols of Lie and Sew. It's called Women of East Coast Music, and that is a hub of sorts for female artists in the Maritimes. Its tagline is a safe place to celebrate and showcase women, non-binary, trans, and non-cis musicians on the East Coast. So you can find that on Facebook by searching for Women of East Coast Music. We will also post that on our Instant Breakfast New Brunswick Facebook page. There's about 300 members there already. There's a directory of bands. There are links. You can post events, you can offer music services, so it's a great place for women musicians in the Maritimes to connect with other women musicians in the Maritimes.
It is very cool.
Let's start out this set with a great musician from Dieppe named Caroline Savoie. She's got 3 albums. We're going to play one from her second album, Laisse-moi, rever, which means let me dream. She's on the Le Grenier label, which plays, Acadian roots music. Probably the best label in New Brunswick. I think there's high quality bands across that entire label. Laisse-moi rever is her first French album. Her initial one was in English, but I think the French Acadian folk is a much better fit for her. She really expresses herself much better through that medium. Her first album, Just Saying, was in 2011, and she has a more recent album, self-titled, Caroline Savoie, in 2016. So she's got just a beautiful, very powerful voice, clear when she wants it to be. She's got a little bit of growl in it when she wants it to be. This album is a great sounding album. It was produced by a 10-time Grammy Award winner, Jay Nolan, who's done albums for people like Eric Clapton and Paul Simon and Norah Jones.
Wow.
Yeah. Indie Music Reviewer magazine says this album is surely one of our greatest listens yet. She's won multiple awards in the Granby International Festival in 2015. She actually took home 15 awards. We're going to listen to one of her.
All?
Just 15, yeah.
All right, I guess we'll play her.
Yeah, I heard her do a show a few years ago with a bunch of other New Brunswick musicians, and she talked about being in La Voix in France. So that's The Voice, which is a vocal competition, and she made it quite far. I don't know if it was the semifinals or the quarterfinals of that show, but testimony to the quality of musicianship that she brings. So we're going to listen to a tune off Laisse-moi rêver, Let Me Dream, called Si tu savais, If You Knew. A little bit more up-tempo than her other ones. The album itself has some people that you would recognize, like Tim Isaac on the cello, Dennis Surrett from Les Païennes on the drums, Robin Ann Eddles on the bass. This tune has got a nice mixture of electric guitars and drums and horns.
Nice.
You're going to love it. Very catchy. Great way to start out the set.
That sounds awesome. Si tu savais.
Si tu savais à quel point je suis maladroite, je suis pas la meilleure avec les mots. Si tu savais comment je me méfie des gens, je pense pas trop à ce qu'ils pensent de moi. Si tu savais comment je ressens de la jalousie quand je te vois parler avec d'autres filles. Si tu savais combien j'aime me lamenter quand je sais que le monde fait juste à croire Comment je ricelle de mes jokes plates, je suis vraiment pas la meilleure comédienne. Si tu savais ce que je peux faire avec ma bouche, ah oui, t'as deviné, je peux pas arrêter de parler. Ah, si je te disais tout ça, je sais pas si tu voudrais encore de moi, mais peut-être si tu savais à quel point moi je veux toi, t'aurais peut-être pas besoin de savoir toutes ces choses-là. Et si tu savais comment souvent que je parle de toi, les gens autour de moi sont juste tannés. Et si tu savais comment tes mots viennent m'accrocher, ton nom sur mon cœur gravé. Ah, si je te dis j'ai tout ça, je sais pas si tu voudrais encore de moi, mais peut-être si tu savais à quel point moi je veux toi, t'aurais peut-être pas besoin de savoir toutes ces choses-là.
That was fantastic. I love the horns in that. So much fun. Horns just add such a brightness.
Yeah.
They're just so like lively. Savoie. Si tu savais. And tell me what that means again. I already forgot.
If you knew.
If you knew. Okay. Which I don't.
If you knew, you would know.
Exactly. Good point. What are we going to hear next, John?
Next, we're going to hear a singer named Marie-Jo Therio, who is from Shediac, but she's been in Montreal for years. Put out an album in 2010 called Chasing Lydie, which is, it's kind of a documentary fiction put into music. It's set in this historic town of Waltham, Massachusetts, and
know where
it's
that
the
is.
story
there.
of some of her. Have you really? Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to go there.
No, it's just a little sleepy town apparently, and that's where some of her relatives lived. Her mother's sister was Aunt Lydia.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and so it's kind of the story of this musical awakening of Lydia, who is kind of the black sheep of the family, I guess. Yeah,
Like me.
the
like
bad
myself.
fairy, I think she calls it on the album. It's got a lot of soundscape mixed with music. It's got a very theatrical show tune feel to it, which makes sense because Marie-Jo Therio has sung in musicals and plays. She's a piano player, a singer, a comedian. She's been in TV and films.
Wow.
Traveled all over the place too. Madagascar, Bosnia, Vietnam, Senegal with her music.
Wow. That is super amazing.
This is how it's described on her Bandcamp site. Chasing Lydie is the soundtrack of a movie, an open-eyed dream where the crackling sound of old vinyls, voices from the past, and Boston's glory days completes the imaginary canvas of the present. So I should say it's a soundtrack of a movie that doesn't exist. So it's
Right.
an imaginary music
Right.
movie. It's the story of a journey to uncover her musical past. So in the late 20s, the LeBlanc family, who is her roots, they left Acadia, French New Brunswick, for Waltham, Massachusetts. In this cast of characters in this album are Eddie, her grandfather. There's a tap dancer who wanted to be a tap dancer, like Fred Astaire. There's Lydia, her mother's sister, who became a singer in the suburbs of Boston. There's her Aunt Mabel. There's her cousin Bruce. Okay, here's the quote that I was looking for earlier. Mom always talked to us about Aunt Lydia because she was a disobedient family fairy. So not a black sheep, a disobedient family fairy.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
I guess, a difference, huh?
Yeah, and so she's kind of a doppelganger for Marie-Jo Therio, I think.
Okay,
so
I
there's
think so too.
There's this musical kinship that she's trying to unearth.
Now,
Yeah.
I wonder why she calls it Chasing Lydie instead of Lydia.
I don't know.
The
Maybe
weirdest
that was
questions. The doppelganger.
Yeah, the diminutive of Lydia, I suppose. That might have been her nickname. So we're going to listen to a tune off of this. It's very kind of show tune-ish, jazz-like. The tune that we're going to listen to is Little Miss Little.
Little Miss Little lives inside a tree, wants to sing her own song, wants to make her own honey, wants to travel the world, wants to ride the sea, wants to travel the world. Little Miss Little don't wanna raise a flag, don't wanna get caught in no family tree. Oh, can't you see that her heart is all entangled in duality? Oh, her beating heart. Little Miss Little walks all day and all night, her eyes wide open to the city lights. She hears the same old song coming from the same old tree, and she says to me, don't wanna make no noise, that's what she says to me. Don't wanna make no dent in the family tree. Don't wanna get lost. Just wanna swallow the sea. She wants to be good or she wants to be bad, but the cages don't fit. Why isn't that sad? What's she gonna do? What's she gonna say? Well, she won't stay put, that's all I have to say. She won't stay put, that's all I have to say. She's gonna take the sky, escape your eyes. She's gonna take the sea. She's gonna swallow the sea. She's gonna swallow the sea.
Oh, that was absolutely gorgeous. From Marie-Jo Therio?
Yes.
That was Little Miss Little.
That would have been
that.
her playing the piano, too.
Mm-hmm. So what do we have coming up next? This I'm very curious about.
Next, we have a quartet from Moncton called the Galpines. That's a play on Alpine, the beer.
Okay.
They refer to their music as crass country.
I love it.
It's country. It's got definitely a bluegrass influence too, although not, the religious aspects of bluegrass.
Mm-hmm. Right.
They have like just a wicked sense of humor and absolutely no filter.
I love it.
So they've got tunes about streaking and binge drinking and trips to the drunk tank and unwashed genitalia and just
I love it.
Good old girls.
Have they been around for a long time? Because I've heard the name, but I just can't recall hearing them for whatever reason.
I think they've been around for a couple of years.
Okay.
They've had a couple of lineup changes, and I think the name of the band was something different before. I think they started out as a trio. They had a different name, but now they're the Galpines, and they actually are releasing their first full-length album today.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's an album called Sorry Mother.
I love the tattoos.
Yeah, the cover.
Sorry Mom.
yeah, the cover has a picture of someone exposing their butt cheek with a Sorry Mom tattoo on the butt.
Oh, that's so good. Because it makes me feel better that I'm not the only one that's sorry, Mom.
Yeah.
My whole life.
They're just saying what everybody else wants to say.
Exactly.
If you didn't have manners to filter yourself, then you would be one of the Galpines.
I think I'd fit right in.
I think you probably would.
I'd play the cowbell like nothing.
So their album released today in Parkendale Hall, which is a converted church out in Elgin, New Brunswick. A beautiful space, great place to listen to music.
That is so cool.
So 8 p.m. is their show. I would encourage everybody to go see that. It's going to be a great show full of humor and wit and bad language. What is it? Bob Mercereau says, they're a whole lot of fun if you don't mind a few, well, a lot, of F-bombs and S-bombs and P-bombs and C-bombs and even the occasional Q-bomb. Is there such a thing? I'll let you leave that to your imagination.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Think about that.
The East magazine says basically it's punk masquerading as country music with hilarious lyrical witticism and pretty accurate social commentary. And then Ken Kelly from musicnerd.ca says, if you enjoy your honky-tonk and the body side, Moncton band The Galpines will be right up your alley. They won the 2017 Music New Brunswick Award for Emerging Artist of the Year. And they've got traditional folk instruments, guitar, ukulele, mandolin, bass, and great harmonies. If you go to their website, this is how they're promoting their album. Our brand spanking new album, Sorry Mom, is sure to make you spit out your Alpine while you listen. But we encourage you to lap it up like a doggy. And then there's a little asterisk by there, and it says, the Galpines do not endorse the wasting of Alpines.
Good for them. Yeah. Thank goodness.
So we're going to... Given my lead into this, you can imagine that I had a hard time to find a song that was actually radio friendly. So they do have their new album on Bandcamp, but I wasn't able to find anything that was really fitting for
That's probably why
a
I
morning
haven't heard
show.
it.
So I went back to their Truck EP. So it's an EP they put out a couple of years ago, and I found a tune on there that was relatively clean, Doggy, Dog World. And it's a pretty clever tune, a little bit less filthy. It's strings together a whole bunch of commonly misused idioms like irregardless and misuse of literally and supposedly. So yeah, you're gonna really enjoy this. It's funny.
I love that, supposedly. That is great, and irregardless, that is awesome too. Here's Doggy Dog World. Thanks for listening, guys.
My head literally exploded when I seen you at the library with her. Thought I'd nip it in the butt, but it wasn't you point. I guess it's just a doggy dog world. Well, it was Valentine's Day, I was head over heels. They say abstinence makes the heart grow fonder. just a coward, and you ain't nothing to write home about. Sorry for your loss. Well, buddy, you got it fast backwards. And my head literally exploded when I seen you at the library with her. Thought I'd nip it in the butt, but it was a mute point. I guess it's just a doggy dog. I'm told it's just a doggy dog. God knows it's just a doggy dog.
Isn't that the truth? That is so good. I love that. That's my theme song. Doggy Dog World from the Galpines.
Let me tell you, the songs get way filthier than that.
I have got to check out all of them.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. So
Yeah.
much fun.
Oh, they have such a sense of humor, too. They've got a really good YouTube page, too.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. I'll definitely be checking them out today down at Back Street Records, because we can play anything we want there. Language doesn't matter, which is, I find really, really, really fun. This next artist I know we've listened to before because I absolutely love her, and I have played her before on my Women's Day.
Yeah, this is Nina Khosla from Moncton, and people might know her from a band called Love Storm. She plays in with the cello player Tim Isaac. We've played some tunes from Love Storm in the past before. They're a great band, very popular on the festival scene for quite a while. I'm not sure if they're together anymore, Love Storm, but Nina did just put out a solo album this year. It's called Make It Last, and she's a multi-instrumentalist. She plays keyboard and ukulele and marimba and harmonium, which is a reed-based Indian instrument. You kind of pump some bellows through reeds, similar to a pump organ would be the European equivalent, essentially a type of pump organ.
Mm-hmm. Do you know what her background is?
I think she's East Indian heritage. She's from Toronto originally, but moved to Moncton at some point in the last while. Yeah, and that would explain the harmonium, because the harmonium's a very popular instrument in India.
Okay.
Yeah. So the interesting thing about this album is none of those instruments that I mentioned she actually plays in this. Every tune is done using only her voice and a vocal looping machine.
Oh,
so
wow.
I know how much you love looping machines.
I love friggin' looping machines.
For those in our audience who don't know what a looping machine, it basically lets you create repeating sequences of audio. So you'll play a piece of audio and then insert that in the looping machine, and it will repeat that over and over again, and you can do that with multiple segments, so you can build up this big cascading effect that's almost orchestral in nature, but you can use whatever sounds you happen to put into it. So you'll see like Stephen Lewis and his big band of fun would be someone who extensively uses a looping machine, and he'll get up on stage and play a bass riff, add it to the looping machine, and that bass riff will play repeatedly. Then he'll add a guitar riff on top of that. Then he'll add maybe some background vocals, and then he'll sing some funky music on top of it.
It's so cool, and it's one way, I think, for a solo artist to really sound big.
Yeah.
Which I think is really neat. And actually, Rory Talon, when I saw him the other night at Abbey Cafe, used one. And wow, he sounds big enough on his own, but with that looping machine, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
So this would be much a different sound than what you would hear with Stephen Lewis. It's not that kind of funky. It's more sort of organic and earthy and really kind of mysterious sounding. So we're going to listen to a tune off her album Make It Last called Solid.
You are so solid. You're made of rock. I'll cling to your crevices. The sea won't carry me away. You are so solid. Chained to the ground. Like an anchor. You keep me close. You keep me
That was absolutely gorgeous from Nina Khosla, and the track was Solid. What do we have coming up next, John?
Next we have some quirky jazz out of Moncton from Lullaby Baxter and her accompanist Robinson St. George. They've got 3 albums out. The first 2 Capable Egg in 2000 and Garden Cities of Tomorrow in 2006. Also 3 film soundtracks, but the albums were very critically acclaimed, so they got reviews in like The Village Voice, which called her
Whoa.
cerebrally seductive. The Globe and Mail, Pitchfork compared her to Ella Fitzgerald. Here's the quote:
Whoa.
Baxter's jazzy alto carries echoes of singers like Ella Fitzgerald, with a sprinkle of pixie dust rather than the venti cappuccino smoothness of such like-minded chanteuses as Nora Jones and Madeleine Peyroux.
Wow.
Yeah, the Globe and
That
Mail.
is quite
Oh, I know.
nice.
Isn't that awesome?
That is so
Yeah,
awesome.
The Globe and Mail says, Capable Egg is a round-trip tour of a musical world that has always been with us, but never quite in this form. The backup for her first album, Capable Egg, was a band called Orange Symphonette, and the members play with Tom Waits. So, you know,
Wow.
that kind of
Wow.
weird jazzy quirkiness of Tom Waits.
Oh my goodness!
Translate
do I ever.
that
Tom
to,
Waits is one of my favorite
me
artists
too,
of
yeah.
all time.
Yeah, I just bought a Tom Waits album at Backstreet Records
So did
a
I.
couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I am just like a huge fanatic.
Yeah.
So
she is
I
like
am
the
so interested to hear this.
female inheritor to Tom Waits's particular take on jazz music. Yeah, it's got all of the quirkiness without the deep rasp, cultivated by many years of smoking incessantly.
See, I always thought he was just pretending to smoke.
Yeah, I don't know.
I always thought he was just holding that cigarette just for, aesthetic
It
purposes.
could very well be. Yeah, maybe he vapes now.
Anyway, we love you, Tom Waits.
Yeah.
And I am really stoked to hear this.
So this is their third album. It's really minimalist. It's called L'heure de l'Étoile, which is the Hour of the Star. They actually release this song one album at a time, and each song is accompanied by a photo from a Barcelona artist named Selma Reis Catrazi. The photographer's website, there's all kinds of just beautiful, interesting, quirky images on that too. So it's like it's a really good pairing of image and music. You do hear a little bit of snare drumming on some of the tunes in this album, and that would be her, I think, with a brush on a snare.
I
really
love that.
light texture, but really adds a nice atmosphere to the music. This is what they say about the album on the Bandcamp page. I'll just read that, and then we can jump into the tune. Lullaby Baxter was at the window. Robinson St. George was in the garden. Something simple, she said. No need to get all orchestral, he said. You on piano, me singing, and if need be, my subtle drumming, she said. It'll take a good many walks, talks, eyes, nights, books, lives, leaves, hats, hands, years, and ears, he said. It'll take the humility of an observatory, but the stick-to-itiveness of the moon, she said. So, there we are, he said, returning to his tomatoes. The ever of never becomes the always of sometimes, she said, disappearing into the house. You're going to love this tune.
Okay.
She's got a great voice, and there's so
yeah.
much personality in the way that she sings.
So here it is, Atlantic City.
And tonight I'll go looking round town. All the ones I used to know will still be here. And tonight I'll go asking around two or three who were sweet on me will come over and say, gee, where you been? Took too long to find a way home. Heard you weren't coming back, so tonight I'll go looking round town. All the ones I used to know will still be here. So tonight, I'll go asking around all the ones I used to know will still be here. And tonight I'm lost and I'm found. Two or three who are sweet on me will come over and say, gee, where you been?
My favorite track of the day, though, I love all of them, and that was Lullaby Baxter with Robinson St. George, Atlantic City. Perfect.
Great singing, great piano playing.
And coming up next, okay.
I think we have time enough for two more songs.
Okay.
And both of them are by a long-standing New Brunswick musician, Julie Doiron, who started out as the bass player for the band Eric's Trip, which is the first Canadian band that was signed to Seattle's Sub Pop Records.
That's my favorite label in the world. Sub
Yeah,
Pop.
she's from Moncton. I think she now lives in Sackville. She spent some time in Toronto and various other places. But, I mean, she's really gotten around in the musical world. She's been a guest musician on Tragical Hip Tune, My Music at Work.
Wow.
Yeah, and
Knew
on
that
Gord
either.
Downey's solo albums. Her album Woke Myself Up was shortlisted for the 2007 Polaris Music Prize. And she won a Juno Award for Best Alternative Album in 2000 with another band, Julie Doiron and the Wooden Stars. The tune that we're going to listen to now was actually an Apple commercial for the iPhone. She wrote the tune and then Apple
She's
borrowed
so
it from a
humble.
commercial. Yeah, she's so
so
humble.
humble.
And the tune
would
itself
never know it.
is so simple. Like Eric's Trip was a really heavy, very lo-fi, kind of punkish band. And this song, The Life of Dreams, is just Julie Doiron with an acoustic guitar, and she plays and sings in kind of an effortless and unusual way.
She
So
does. You have to
yeah.
see her live to just. It is very different.
Yeah,
Very different from what I expected, in a great way.
Yeah, it's kind of like she's sitting around a campfire and not really paying any particular attention to timing or phrasing. It's just comes right out in this really natural way that is incredibly personal.
Yes, it is.
The name of the commercial that this song accompanied was for the iPhone 5S. Parenthood was the name of the commercial. She's also a yoga instructor,
Okay.
an avid photographer. She has a book of photographs that's called The Longest Winter that has poetry from the Ottawa writer Ian Roy. So this album, I Can Wonder What You Did With Your Day, when she did her tour of this, the mayor of Bruno, Saskatchewan, proclaimed June 7th, 2009 as Julie Doiron Day.
Well, how cool is that?
That's pretty cool.
That is.
So there's just a short little tune. We're going to go immediately into another song by Julie and the Wrong Guys, which is a band that she formed when she was out in Toronto for a while in 2017. And the Wrong Guys are singer-songwriter Eamon McGrath. You might have heard of him.
Yeah, we have that here. We've been playing.
Yeah,
We've
I think
played
Roger
that a
played
lot.
him in Rosie Morning just before
we've
one of his
played
tunes.
that a lot. It's great.
Yeah, so it's Eamon McGrath and members of the hardcore band the Cancer Bats.
Exactly.
Accompany her. So it's heavy music, not quite as heavy as Eric's Trip, a little more hi-fi than Eric's Trip. Great stuff. So I think we better jump into it, or
Yeah, we
we're not
better.
going to hear it. So
We better say goodbye.
yeah.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Life of Dreams. Love and Leaving.
1, 2, 3. I'm living the life of dreams. I'm living the life of dreams with good people all around me. I'm living the life of dreams. I'm feeling quite hopefully with good people all around me. I'm feeling hopefully, and the light shines bright all through the night. nice stories. And my loves are well, sleeping just right. And I know, now that we're living the life of dreams. Living the life of dreams with good people all around. We're living the life of dreams, dreams, dreams.